Hello everybody, this is Pastor Brandon and Autumn for our video series, Help, I'm Married, and our goal is just to provide you with some resources to enrich and strengthen your marriage. And today we want to talk about something that is very important, but doesn't always get talked about that much, and that is communication, specifically fighting fair. Now I want to go ahead and just kind of tell you something that may be a little bit profound, but I think we all already know this, and that is all couples disagree. All couples have conflict, all couples fight. Even that one couple, even your grandparents who are the sweetest people, and they really are, they probably disagreed at some point. Here's the thing, all couples fight, healthy couples fight fair. And the series scripture we've been working through is this, Proverbs chapter 14, verse 4, when it says, without oxen, a stable stays clean, but you need a strong ox for a large harvest. And this is definitely true when it comes to conflict. You want to have a successful marriage? You're going to have to plow through this idea of having healthy conflict. So what we want to do is we want to give you some ideas on how to have healthy conflict. Because I want to ask you this question. Do you have ground rules so that not if, but when you fight or when you have disagreements, you know how to fight fair? Well, if not, we want to give you 7 ideas and then 1 action step that maybe can help you. And these don't have to be yours. You just need to have some, because when those moments come, you need to be able to be on the same page. Okay, here's the first one, and that is this. Work on your rules during non-conflict seasons, okay? Now, if you're in an argument, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but all the emotions, all the feels are there, and you're thinking about all the things, but maybe not how to be fair in the moment, right? And so you need to pick a non-conflict time and say, can we talk about our relationship? And my wife and I have learned this. Now, we've learned to wait until we're in good places and then say, hey, can we talk about how to have successful conflict? Because it's important and the emotion needs to be out of it. Number 2 is
hold on. Even if you do this during date night, which he's gonna be like, don't do that. But I'm just saying, date night is a good night. You know, you're loving each other, date night. Hey, set up the ground rules to fight fair on date night. Yeah. Next date night idea.
Yeah, that's very true. The second thing is this, and that is to realize that your spouse is not your enemy. Now, usually in marriage, there's at least one person who's the more competitive. Now, in our marriage, we're both extremely competitive, which is good in all things except conflict. But what you've got to understand is, even though you may be a competitive person, the goal in your conflict is not to win, is to resolve. And that means that you've got to understand that I'm not out to give that one last zinger, that one last point to win, because you may win and still lose. The goal is to resolve conflict. So the first one is make ground rules in good seasons. The second one is remember who the enemy is.
Third, I would say to stay on topic and don't bring up new topics. So if you're fighting about who put the kids to bed last night or whose turn it is to put the kids to bed, don't be like, oh yeah, and you need to also do this. Like let's keep it on topic, because we can all think of things when we're in that moment. There's all kinds of new things that you just want to go ahead. Let's go ahead and get this out. That's how I feel. Why don't we just go ahead and talk about it all today?
Well, it's usually because there is something already bubbling that you're upset about. And when you get in those moments, you're just ready to talk about all of it. So that's why you have to be so careful to stay on topic, because you're emotional. And so you're probably not going to have a life-giving conversation in that moment.
With that, and kind of on the same path as that. So number 4 would be, don't get historical, meaning don't bring up the past. And that is like, I'm so bad at that. Like I love to bring things up. So don't bring up new things, but then also don't bring up things from 3 years ago, 3 weeks ago, or 3 days ago, because it's already enough tension with the topic at hand. Let's not go back and bring up what the other person did.
Yeah, I actually know a couple, now that you say this, that they had a 3-day limit. And it was, if it happened before 3 days, you can't bring it up in the current conversation, because that's for another time. The next one is this, and that is never threaten divorce. Now, what I mean by that is you get in a moment and you say things like, I just don't know if I can do this anymore. Well, you might just be meaning, I don't know if I can have this conversation anymore, Or you could be meaning, I don't know if I can do this relationship anymore. And so just be very careful with threatening in those moments, because to me, that's a low blow. It's unfair.
And you're just your words in general, because we had to have a conversation on our how to fight fair about this topic, because I would say, I can't do this anymore. And what I would mean is, I can't fight like this anymore. I don't want to argue about this topic. But he was taking it as, I can't do this marriage anymore, which is not, that was not at all what I meant. So this is like very personal, so we are sharing our story. Don't threaten divorce, but also just watch your words on threatening anything. Watch how you say things and make sure that you explain things. Because if you say, I can't do this anymore, the other person could take it wrong.
Yeah, that's number 6, watch your words. And then the last one, and this is one that I had to learn, and that is to give your spouse a break. And what I mean by that is I had to learn to ask for that. That's where the ground rules come in, because she and I are very different. And so earlier in our marriage, when we would start to have conflict, I would start to get angry, and sometimes when I get angry, I don't think straight anymore, and I would just walk out of the room. Well, she's wanting to resolve the situation, so she would follow me out of the room. And I remember one time just turning around and going, "You're going to leave me alone because I'm having trouble right now." And then in a non-conflict moment, I was able to say, "Listen, let's make a rule. You are going to let me walk out of the room, but then I promise I will at some point walk back in the room and we'll finish the conversation." Now, that was a situation we had to walk through and realize, because the reason why she would follow me is because I'd keep walking, and never actually try to finish it. And so then I had to also, on that part, to be fair, yes, you give me a breather, I'm gonna come back in and we're gonna resolve the conversation. And so what is one step?
Oh, hold on, I wanna add one. I wanna add one more, because this was big for us in fighting fair, is letting the other person know you're okay.
Yeah.
So we would get in arguments, and he needed time. I needed to just finish it and be done. But while he was taking his time, my thoughts are like, does he still love me anymore? You don't know when you're really arguing like this.
Yeah.
And so you have all those thoughts and all those insecurities come up. And so during our good times, and we talked about what we needed, that's what we come to the conclusion that I needed that reassurance. So when we argue, he now can say, we're okay, but I need space and I need some time. So then he can have his time without me thinking the worst.
Yeah. Well, and that's important, because that was one of the things during a non-conflict time she needed to tell me, because it was nowhere on my radar. I would have never realized I needed to reinforce the security of the moment, because that's not how I was wired. And so I didn't realize she needed that. And so I wasn't giving her that simply because I didn't know. And so it's entirely possible that if you're in a conflict situation with your spouse and you're not fighting fair, it's entirely possible that your spouse is not evil, they're just misinformed. They don't know what you need. But you can't do that during conflict, which is why it's important to really work on it during non-conflict times. Because remember, all couples fight. Healthy couples fight fair. So I'm going to give you one next step, and that is this. What is the most important ground rule value to you? What is it? Just think about all the things. Is it to give a breather? Is it to not get historical? Whatever it is, what is the most important thing? And then I want you to engage in a conversation. If you're in a healthy place where you can, engage in a conversation, and maybe you should just write down. Maybe you take Autumn's advice and you have a date night. You go have a nice dinner or whatever, and while you're there, man, you get out your phone, you get a piece of paper, and why don't you come up with a few ground rules so that you can fight fair, and talk about what is most important to you. Like for her, it needed to be, we're okay. For me, it needed to be, give me a moment. But those were things we had to state so that we could fight fair.
And it takes a while. You're not going to talk about this and all your problems go away and your fights are beautiful. It's a process.
Yep.
These are just some tools that we think can help you, because they have really helped us.
Yeah, and I'll tell you that the idea, just the idea of realizing that it's okay to disagree was a huge relief for me. I used to think that the healthier you were as a couple, the more you didn't disagree. But honestly, when you have two healthy individuals, you're going to have differences of opinion. Having a different opinion God didn't make you to be the same. He made you to be different, because it's in the differences of opinion you find the best way. You just need to be healthy with it so that you can create a healthy legacy. So we love you so much. We hope these are helping you. It is an honor to serve you in this way. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, because we're putting these things everywhere. We want to help you. Also, in the comments down below, let us know if there's some issues that you're dealing with. And it might be on our list of videos to cover in the future. It might not be. You may be helping us more than you realize. So be sure to let us know how these videos are helping you in the comments below. We love you, and we'll see you for the next one.